Hello and welcome everyone to my November update for Modern. Before we start, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying this, because the more subscribers I have, the more content I can create. So if you like this and you want to see more, smash that subscribe button. Helps you out and helps me as well. Also, I would like to note that I have a sideboard together with this video. Now, my sideboard guide is limited to my patrons, so if you're interested in getting the sideboard guide, then you will have to become a patron if you want it, and I will leave a link to my Patreon in the description below. So yeah, let's jump into why you're all here. First, let's talk about the meta. I'm sure you noticed already, but Yorion has been banned, and I'm going to talk about the Yorion ban first a bit. I don't think this will make a huge change for Infect specifically, because I think that, well, the control decks won't really change all that much. If I'm being honest, like for instance, if I open the 4/5 color Yorion deck, I don't see that many things changing. They probably just cut abundant growths, and they may have to think more about what they can play. So what I could see happening, for example, is that they may start cutting stuff like a couple of Ice Fang Cuddles. That could be good. Maybe they trim down a couple of Solitudes. They won't be able to play everything, so they will have to make some changes. But in general, I think the main issues that we have with the deck, for example, Ren 6 and Teferi, they will stay in the deck. They're just way too powerful. So that's my thought, at least. First, if you haven't watched my previous video, and I don't think it's on YouTube, so I'm going to explain this for you. I've gone back to blue-green, and let me first explain to you why. Because I've been playing black-green for quite a while now, and recently I've been finding that more and more decks have answers to Crusader, which used to be the main reason why you play black-green, right? But now, if you can solve Crusader, if you have answers for this, then there's no real reason to go into blue-green. Now, the thing is, blue-green suffers heavily from the creatures dying so easily, because, you know, every single deck has now so many removal spells. They're all free with the evoke creatures, so it's so difficult to play blue-green, which is why I shifted to black-green. And now I've been thinking for quite some while about how can I change this, right? How could I navigate the deck in such a way that it's able to deal with all these removal spells? And then I came with this list. The video that I showed you 2 or 3 weeks ago was the first league I played with my build, which I 5-0'd with, where I played this new build, and I discussed a little bit in there. And what I've done is I've just trimmed the hardcore pump spells, if I can call them like that, and I've gone for more all into protection spells. So let me show you. These are the only real pump spells that are left. 2 scale up, 4 might for the Crowther. So only 2 scale up. I've gone down to 2 because you really never want to have 2 scale ups in your hand. Having 2 of them is really awkward. They don't scale together, get it? And that's why I've gone down to 2. And you can see that I'm just overloading on protection spells. I have 12 protection spells right here. And I've gotten a lot of questions about this. And the main, well, I can summarize all of these questions in, don't you miss win conditions? And the answer is, well, no, because what's the win condition in our deck, really? The win condition in our deck firsthand is the infect creatures. You can have a hand filled with pump spells, and they won't do anything if you don't have an infect threat. This is why I've gone to, and you just have to adapt to a new meta where everything is removal. Every single deck plays, they're filled with removal spells. It's so easy to play, so free. So you just need to protect your creatures. I generally don't have a lot of problems with finishing my opponent if you can keep your threats alive. If you have 1 pump spell, if you have 1 might, 1 scale up, or even 1 vines, you usually win the game. You just need to be able to attack 2 or 3 times with your creatures, and generally that's game for you. What I've also done is I've gone to 8 nobles, and the reason for that is that, again, it's all removal spells. Every single deck has a million removal spells to their disposal, which means they will always kill your noble turn 1. Or ignoble, it's the same thing. They will always be able to kill it turn 1, which is difficult for us, because we are a lot more mana intensive than it seems. If you start with turn 1 elf and you can't protect it, then don't play it. The best thing that we can do is play turn 1 noble into turn 2 infect threat and have, for example, 2 spells to be able to protect it. If that works, we should be good. So I've gone up to 8 nobles. at worst, it takes away a removal spell from the opponent's hand, and at best, you're able to just fire off with it. And this is also, this goes alongside very well with this game plan here, because we have mites and we have scale-ups, but we don't really need to kill all at once. We can chip in for 1 or 2 infect damage each turn. For example, if you start with turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Agent, and have a protection spell, you're going to be slamming in with a 2/2 infect each turn. That's the equivalent of a 4/4. You don't need anything else. You will win that game in 5 turns, assuming you didn't have any other pump spell left. And if you draw another Noble, that you're slamming with a 3/3 each turn. That's a lot of damage. And for all these reasons, I've just gone up to a build where I'm maximizing how can I protect my creatures. I say 12 protection spells. You should probably make that 16. I have 4 spell pieces. They can protect your creatures too. If you like, you can trim down a couple of these. I've been in love with the card in the current meta, but I can see why you would want to cut some of these. A couple of changes I've also made. I've gone up to 2 Beseju. I've found that Blood Moon is a big deal. A lot of decks are playing that main deck right now, so I've just cut one of the blue-green lands, and I've gone to Beseju. I could see myself playing 20 lands. I'm going to try that out soon. Maybe cut 1 Distortion Strike. I'm not very happy about Distortion Strikes anymore that much. Sometimes they buy you a game, but I board them out almost every single game, honestly. So I may see myself trimming these, but otherwise I'm very happy with this list. Also gotten a question about how I feel about Mutagenic Growth. Not for me. I don't think that's what you want to be doing right now. And then the sideboard. Very important, right? The main card that I've loved is this one. I'm even thinking about going to 4 or maybe even playing 1 or 2 in the main board. That's how disgusting it is. As I said, what everyone wants to do against you is just kill your creatures. And if you play a Shape of Sanctuary, that's just not a thing. You can't do that because, for example, I had a game where I had 2 Nobles and a Glistener Elf, and my opponent Furied, and he targeted 3 of my creatures, which is like a bomb, right, for us. But I had Shapers, so I just drew 3 cards, and he threw away 2 cards, and I really ended up destroying them that game. That's how powerful Shaper Sanctuary is. All the rest is pretty straightforward. Kitchen Sphinx is really good for the creature-based matchups. Bird, for example. Endurance, All-Star, always play 4 if you can afford it to. Enforce Vigor, straightforward. Enchantment Artifacts, very powerful indeed. And Fluster Storm is for the combo matchups. That's currently my sideboard. I've been loving it. I think blue-green is very strong right now. I've gone back to black-green in a previous kinds of leagues, and I've had much more success with this list currently than with black-green, which is not what I expected, if I'm being honest. So try this out. Please do reply on this video. If you have any questions about maybe why I make certain choices, why I make certain deck decisions, let me know, because I'm always happy to answer any questions that you may have. And don't forget to subscribe. But that was it for the November update, and I will see you soon for another video, I'm sure. Bye.